What's up, guys? Welcome to a late night edition of Sunday Night Wrestling. I am your host here, Peter Parker. And before we start the show, I just want to peep you guys in on what we are going to be chatting about tonight. You see the headline there. You see what's going on. There's so much talk right now that's going on in the wrestling world. And as I post this message out to share with everyone that's what's going on and whatnot. This is, some would say, for the pro wrestling world, borderline catastrophic. We got a lot of wrestle gospel to go on tonight. What has happened since this past episode of SmackDown? What will next week look like after the latest reports about what's going on with Charlotte Flair, and the status with WWE and Vince McMahon, and like everything, and the latest reports that about that no one likes her backstage, apparently. Yeah, guys, we're talking about this picture right here that started it all from this past Friday. Yes, right there, a picture says 1,000 words. Yeah, what's really going on? And is the reports really true? Yeah, there's so much to talk about, and I have the right person with me. So stay tuned for that. All that and more, guys. You're watching DTA Podcast brings you Sunday Night Wrestling, the late night edition. Starting right now. Woo! Hey. Am I on? Testing. Am I on? Yes, live. Okay, there we go, everyone. We are live. Welcome to Sunday Night Wrestling. Once again, my name is Peter Parker. I'm your host here. We are live, late night edition, Sunday Night Wrestling. And as I mentioned, a lot is going on in the world of wrestling right now. We have the latest details. We're going to talk a lot of gossip. So sit back, relax, crack open a cold one. Yes, it's Sunday night. Have a glass of wine, something. I'm going to have my special sidekick come on and join me, and we're going to chat about this, ladies and gents. But as I put here, a picture says 1,000 words. You know, you got the queen of world wrestling entertainment, that being Charlotte Flair, tossing the title. We're all watching it live. We're all there and just in suspense and like, okay, was that supposed to happen? You know, and here on Sunday Night Wrestling, we give you the tea, nothing more but the best. And first of all, I want to say, my heart goes out to Sonya Deville. Hashtag WrestleQueer. Sonya is in the middle of that ring looking very confused. We don't know what the hell is going on. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we are live right now. We're live streaming. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We're on Twitch. Shout out to everyone, all of our DTA podcasters out there. And real quick, if you guys want to support the channel, you guys can follow us on our links here down there. And I put the lower third here, right here. There's just so much going on with this one picture right here. And then from the picture, that's when everything just started to explode from there, because, he threw the title and Becky went to reach it. But apparently, according to reports here, she wasn't supposed to do that. And now we got the headline here that says it all about the fact that she's in hot water. And we're going to talk about it. But yeah, it's it's a lot going on with Charlotte Flair, and this is nothing new, if you ask me. But what I'm shocked about is the fallout from the latest reports with what's going on backstage, and that's where I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I have to have my sidekick with me, you know, my talented co-host that you guys know. And we were working on so much heat. We're cooking up in the kitchen and all that good stuff. So and she, you know, quiet as huge Charlotte fan. You know, probably one of the first divas of the NXT era that, you know, made her become a bigger fan of women's wrestling. I think a lot of people look at Charlotte like that. But this is a little bit more than wrestling, as I was mentioning to her. And because this is, yes, it's about the sport and what had happened, but you know, this is really about someone who, to me, in my eyes, time, you know, how can I say this? She's also sort of like her dad, and not actually. You know what? I'm not even gonna say sort of. I'm not even gonna do that. She is like her dad, and that kind of, I think, is where we are right now with this current situation. And I think it was a big thing, honestly, until like I said, until this latest report came, and it just was like, okay, something is going on. And you know, professional wrestling is you know, things happen in a silo of professional wrestling, like, you know, we're our own niche here, you know? And so when things happen, you kind of like sharing things, or you're, you know, I'm sourcing the information, I'm digging through, okay, this is real. We have to stop everything. I had to write the whole show. I mean, you know, with topics and whatnot, because I was like, this is an important topic. And yeah, wait, you're having issues. Okay, we're connected still. Okay, good. Yeah, and this is the headline here, and let me blow it up for you guys. But yeah, so this is real. We have to talk about this. Charlotte Flair really, you know, at her wits' end, and the report here basically saying that, you know, Vince is angry with her. And angry is subjective now. You know, mean, oh, I mean, what was he angry with her when and Nia Jax got into a fisticuff, or angry with her now because now, you know, she's fucking up everyone's money now, because that's where the story's going. You know, so like I said, I had to go and go get my number one. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my other half, the one and only Suplex City Diva, aka Miss What Is Going On?
My hand with my robe on, and I give you that Charlotte Flair fling out, and I cascade heavenly into Saturday Night Wrestling. Guys, I am here. It's your girl, WrestleMania.
Well, it's more
I
like
am
Monday.
so. It feels like a Monday. Well, actually, it is Monday. As I go from Sunday to Monday, as I transition Sunday to
Night
Monday.
edition.
Well, one of them. Um,
Well,
so we
oh,
are here. I am here, and uh, it's a lot going on. Peter, and it's crazy. So I want you to fill me in, because, you know, after SmackDown, I kind of go into this hibernation where I am not in wrestling for just a little bit. Well, actually, I was because Saturday was AEW, so I wasn't really into Hypernation Wrestling. But I'm glad to be back. It's Sunday night, well, Monday, Sunday, Monday. Should we call it Sunday night, Monday Night Wrestling? Whatever. Okay. We are here. We are here, guys, and if you are with us right now, you know how crazy I get right now about wrestling. You know I love it. But yeah, I'm hearing this. So, I need you to give me a little more. I was trying to get into WrestleMania to find out. Shout out to WrestleMania, find out what happened. But I want you to tell me what happened. So she threw the belt down. I need to set up this crime scene. hmm She
Okay.
threw the belt down. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and then take it from there.
Well, so yeah, so she threw the belt down, and then apparently
hmm
that wasn't the plan. And it was supposed to go where it was a stupid woman's title exchange. So that's basically what it was going to be. A simple title exchange where they just a swap, if you will.
Okay.
And it just clearly that wasn't what we got. Although I was expecting some kind of
hmm
uh, swerve or twist or whatever.
hmm
But I wasn't expecting that. Like I wasn't, expecting for it to happen and then to see that apparently this was not the plan. And it's just unfortunate that as I said in the opening, that other Sonya Deville and now according to the
hmm
report, that she knew what the plan was, and then once Charlotte did that, everything left. So it it's
So what
it
exactly was the plan? Was the plan for them to switch the belts, then have a match for a belt? Because I know Becky wanted to become Becky two belts. Charlotte never held both titles. She wanted to kind of hold both titles. So were they supposed to go into a match? Because then I seen Sasha come out, and was that because when the belts were thrown, they said Sasha get in there because it's going off script.
well apparently
hmm
uh let me try to pull up this damn thing again.
hmm
Apparently that was the Sasha was always the plan. Um
Okay.
and so what because remember Bex is the week of the the week after the whole draft situation. So this is when everything comes into effect, and and so this was the because Becky did not lose the title, so she we all knew once the damn crown jewel whatever happened, what was the fallout. Like, okay, something, they're gonna swap titles or whatever kind of
hmm
thing, and we all
hmm
just waited and and bated breath for that. And that's what we got. But then there was also supposed to be the Sasha Bank underline because she is quote unquote the baby face, even though a couple weeks ago Bianca was, and now this whole drafting got everything. So now Sasha was the baby face apparently. Um, like Charlotte just didn't go with the script, and apparently, as I was alluding to in the opening, this is nothing new. Like she's notorious for going off the script,
Off script.
um and
Right.
yeah, so it's just it's this is something that's been brewing for a while, and I just when I saw this, and then all the stories that that compiling up, like I try not to listen to the social media, the social media back and forths to kind of get. So I try
Right.
to just
Right.
go to people that I know and I trust as far as like sources or whatnot, and it just started snowballing from there. Like you said, WrestleMania, and they did a report, and
Right.
basically saying like, no one apparently fucks with her,
New.
and
Right.
when that happened, um, it was kind of the icing on the cake,
Hmm.
and
So do
so
you do
yeah,
you
so
think it as this the icing? Do you think they will fire Sasha? I mean, not Sasha. Charlotte. This is could be the last
I mean,
video pin in the cushion, or this is the last blow up.
I I on one hand, you got the side of, obviously, people say, she's too valuable
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Too privileged.
to leave, like, she's a Flair, and Vince would be stupid to let her go. But then at the same time, like, how long are you, because I mean, this is something, I mean, we, because shows, so we could always come back to this, but this is something that, it's an interesting conversation, because, later on in the show, we're actually going to talk about that, because, you know, I'm kind of, on one hand, I always stand for wrestlers,
Yeah.
going to different brands and just being able to work wherever that's their right as an independent contractor. So I'm always for that. On the other hand,
Hmm.
I understand where she is right now. WWE, her, Becky, Sasha, and we can never forget Bailey, are basically the women's division. You take
Right.
them
Hmm.
out, there is no real women's division. We
So
just have
that's
Zelina
right.
Vega running
And
around acting like the
hmm.
queen,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Bianca tossing them around because she'll
Hmm.
be
Right.
the biggest and baddest. And maybe
That's what
Ripley
I.
will fill in that gap, but they're not Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, and Bailey, the four horsewomen. So
Right.
so that's what I said. On one hand, there's a lot to weigh there. I don't know if
Yeah.
Charlotte, I don't think she's a merch mover. We know Becky is the queen of merch.
Hmm.
So they each have different components. Like Charlotte is a phenomenal talent. It's just unfortunate that I feel like she allowed herself to be put in this box where, and
Hmm.
only want Charlotte there to just be the female version of other. And
Hmm.
that's not a character. That's just his that's just his goal. That's what he sees in her. And I feel like in this case, like, she sees herself as a wrestler, and that's why, like, she always said, like, I'm not my father. I don't, I don't want to be represented by my father. However, you came into this situation as your father's other half, or second generation child, who's going to take the torch, and God bless the dead with David Flair, who would have been the male, version of that. So unfortunately, he tragically passed away. So now you got Charlotte in the situation where, in NXT. I got the DVD here, the top matches, and Ric Flair was there at NXT. Her when she won the title, and her and Natalia and all of them were feuding, and prior call up, he was always there. He was always there, and she was his
He
protege.
guided her. He guided her career. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so you can't get mad that you got put
Hmm.
in a box, that you're
Hmm.
now just the Flair daughter, and
What?
she actually, like I said earlier in the opening, like, she is like a father, which unfortunately is I think is where this whole story is going to go at, with the show, is that the fact that she can't turn it off. And that's something you and I talk about a lot, even like
We
on our
spoke
last,
about that this past
about
week. Right.
yeah, we were talking about it, like, off chat when we were watching just wrestling, whatever, and talking about Dark Side of the Ring, and how, her father in Dark Side of the Ring
Hmm.
got that episode, Plane Ride from Hell, where apparently he's just Ric Flair 24/7, and she
Yeah.
comes in here as the queen, the daughter of Ric Flair, the king of wrestling, if you will, and she plays this character, and then not only does she play it, Vince McMahon continuously to book her this way, where she has 16 titles already, but you scratch the 4 from NXT away, so now she's down to 12 or whatever, as if that doesn't matter. But the fact is that you book her like this continuously, she squashes everyone, and then that's how the whole backstage situation got into effect, which we're going to get to in a bit. But so I think I think a lot of that plays into just, her leaving, and then if she does leave, whatever. But then the reason why is because of that. Like, you allowed You said, okay, I want to be, I'm coming to this company and they want me to be the female version of my dad. Great. Sounds great. Something we never seen before. There's a lot of young wrestler children, and not all of them could be Charlotte. Not all of them are going to be a Charlotte, so this was the right opportunity to do it. It's just what I always talk to you about is the creative and the booking. And you literally made her a protege of her father. And she unfortunately, she is it. She is that. Like, she believes she's the queen, and that's the attitude that she gives. Which is the report backstage, and like, she doesn't want to sell and make other people look good. Back to this SmackDown, she was supposed to make Sasha Banks look good. That was the goal. Swap it over to Becky, and then Sasha comes out, and then they do their little blah blah blah, and but that didn't happen. She tossed it, and then Becky threw her belt at her because Becky wasn't in the script, and then Sonya Deville's in the middle, and then we're watching, and like you mentioned, you thought it was a part of the show. We're all, oh yeah, sell it, but that wasn't the point. In her mind, I'm the queen, and I'm gonna sit here and bow down to me, even though and according to other stories, I'm about to pull them up, that she was talking about, they were going over this all the whole day, the whole entire day of the show, and she didn't want to do that, did not want to do it. So clearly Vince was, you do what the fuck he says, and she did opposite, but she gets away with it because of, again, her father, and who protects her, backstage. There's numerous stories. All you gotta do is type in Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair. He defends her every chance he gets. He talks about her booking as if he's behind the scenes writing it for her. But so he does all this stuff. He doesn't do it just to do it, because he knows that it's gonna reverberate backstage, that Rick is pissed, and then they make sure it, because at the end of the day, is Vince gonna cut his nose to spite his face, in a sense of get rid of her, one of the biggest assets of professional wrestling, period. And wherever she goes, she's money, wherever she goes, no matter where she goes. But then he loses that, and you loses the great, because some people say, oh, well, Ric Flair says that, Vince McMahon basically reincarnated him, in a sense, when he came from WCW with the belt, and then from there, everything that, flourished from there, and then he came back in the 2000s or whatnot, and, the whole evolution and whatnot. So Ric Flair really his career was revived in WWE, on top of the whole issues he had and stuff like that. And so, and on top of that, he has history back to NWA and stuff. So, and WWE buying them library, there's a lot of history here. So Charlotte leaving would be one of the biggest loss in WWE, bigger than any male wrestler, period. And so that's something that we could definitely ponder on. But what are your thoughts? I mean, because that was basically what's supposed to happen. She was supposed to swap it, but she didn't, and now it's snowballed to where we are.
Okay, so here's where I am with it. Charlotte Flair is definitely wrestling royalty. We are not disputing that at all, ever. Charlotte Flair has, in my opinion, has matched up to what her father has done. The only thing she hasn't done, which is she's missing. Now, see, Charlotte Flair is this, I like to call her wrestling privileged person. She can do stuff like throw belts on the floor and have a temper tantrum and all that other stuff about what she's not getting. But what she's not getting is the fact that she doesn't have the experience outside of WWE. She hasn't went to New Japan. She hasn't been in ACW. She hasn't been in. She has been wherever Charlotte Flair steps at. Vince knows, and this is uh, a part of why he lets her do what she wants to do. Of course, he has to set up for. She's the kind of person that can walk past Ric Flair. There's only a handful of people that don't have to lick Ric Flair's ass as they walk through those curtains and go to the back. Charlotte, Seth, Becky, and just a couple of other people that don't really have to lick Ric Flair's ass. They can have a temper tantrum and won't lose their job. Their job won't be in jeopardy because their value to the company is bigger than these other wrestlers who can be fired at will. Even Bray Wyatt, who I thought he would never fire Bray Wyatt. and Bray Wyatt is fired. So
Because he's
Charlotte is
fat.
it's a fat because he's fat. Apparently, he was too fat. I mean, but then you look at NXT, you got a lot of fat wrestlers there now. Big fat wrestlers. So I don't know what that was at. I think it's mostly creative differences. But with Charlotte, did she not feel that if she would get in trouble if she threw the belt? Of course she did. You know what? She don't give a fuck. And that's her attitude towards a lot of things. Is it right? Some say no, some say she's Charlotte Flair. Because of the fact it's Vince McMahon, and we all have our feelings towards Vince McMahon. So is she giving the middle finger to the McMahons and saying, I don't have to do a damn thing you say? Will that lead to a Charlotte versus Stephanie at WrestleMania? We never had that before. So let's get it. She fought one of the Bellas, Stephanie. But here we are, okay? She threw the belt, okay? I guess they want them to exchange. From what I was getting and why I felt like this was going to be volatile anyway is because they both were talking about screw each other in their post-exchange interview. They both came out and they said, hey, I want to fight her for the belt. I want both belts, and Charlotte felt a certain kind of way. Becky felt so when they threw it, it didn't really go off. It was off script to the people who wrote the script, but to the fans, we were like, yeah, let's get it, But at the end of the day, yes, she is Ric Flair's daughter, and Charlotte knows one thing: that wherever she stepped foot at, if Charlotte stepped foot in AEW, guaranteed within a month, she's AEW Women's Champion. No one can defeat her. She is the blueprint, as Sasha would like to say. She's the blueprint, but Charlotte is that damn good. Does that make it right for her to have these temper tantrums and be a rich, spoiled kid? Newsflash, she is a rich, spoiled kid. She is. She's a rich, spoiled kid. She does what the fuck she wants. She's white privilege, and she knows it. Does it take anything away from her wrestling skill? No. Does it mean she's racist? No. But at the same time, this is the thing that, as in a company, they're going to expect from someone like Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair's daughter, who walks around with Queen on her robe, Queen on her tights, okay? And we're sitting around here with the Queen of the Ring, who means nothing. Sorry, whatever the girl name is. See, I even forgot her name because she's not memorable. Why would they make this woman? Yeah, she's not even memorable. Okay?
Very few wrestlers have to.
Okay, when you say Queen,
there are very few wrestlers who.
Very few wrestlers that can say Queen and King. They are. They can live like 24/7. So that's why that's my thing about. We'll talk about the Queen of the Ring and all that stuff later. But with Charlotte at the same time, Charlotte knows she's the only one that can do that to Becky. She's the only one that can do that to Sasha. She'll get thrown out and she'll say F WWE. Now, let me tell you somebody else. There's anyone else that says F WWE, they're fired.
Thank you.
Fired. There is no discussion. But with Charlotte, they know that if she leaves, AEW is going to pay her the highest woman's salary they ever seen. They know what this woman can do. They want it over there. Come on, Charlotte. Come over here. Because we know your father didn't make 16-time world champion being 16-time WWE champion, unlike John Cena. He was 16-time from WCW, AW, whatever. All these wrestling brands that he became champion in to culminate him being 16-time champion. And Charlotte is missing that. She could be Ric Flair's daughter all day. But one thing she is missing is the experience. Vince McMahon holds them. And that's why they get upset. She's not getting what her boyfriend gets. Androgeno. Eligolo. He's over there getting another kind of experience. He's from Mexico, and then he came to NXT, and then in WWE. Now he's in AEW. Those are the kind of experiences that make your legacy, that make your career. It doesn't just be in WWE for the rest of your life until you die. So they know that, but Vince is not trying to let him go anywhere else. I mean, he let Daniel Bryan. That's because he knew he wasn't doing anything else with Daniel. And Daniel was a flight risk, meaning that if he hurt his neck again, then it'd be over. Okay. So at this point right now, and you look at Charlotte's career, what it has culminated to is that Charlotte Flair is this. She's about to be an icon. There is no woman that can beat her. How many times are we going to see her with matches with Sasha Banks? How many times are we going to see her with matches with Becky Lynch? The only thing Charlotte can do from here is have a baby. And she probably doesn't want to do that in her career. She wants to fight. She wants to make her legacy. And where does her legacy go? Well, we all know one place that it will go, but it's not WWE. She'll rule. She'll beat everybody on this roster. And she has. We can go down a list. If I bring up the Google on the list, you can go down a list of people that Charlotte has beaten. And I'm not saying this because I'm Charlotte Flair's biggest fan. I don't think I'm anyone's biggest fan. I think I am a supporter. If I was her biggest fan, I'd probably have a couple more things, outfits or shirts or whatever. Charlotte. But I do believe that I believe in a person's talent. I believe what a person can do. If it was so much that difficult to switch out the belts, why not drop the belt to Bianca on Raw? Why not give the belt to Bianca? We wouldn't even have this problem right now. Charlotte, a belt doesn't mean anything for you. You don't need a belt to stand in the ring. You're one of the few wrestlers where you define the championship. The championship doesn't define you. The championship doesn't define you. So we know this. So when Vince gets upset and mad, I say, well, Vince, that's how the cookie crumbles, baby. Because you made her. You created her. You boosted her up. You made her 13-time champion. More than anyone else in women's history. She's already made history. What is she doing? When you have a wrestler like Charlotte Flair, like Roman Reigns, like John Cena, like the people that have reached that glass ceiling where there's nowhere else to go, things start getting a little hectic. You start getting a little bored, where you don't want to do anything anymore. Hey, I throw the belt. Why? Because it means nothing. I've held it so many times. I'll get it, I'll lose it. I'll get it, I'll lose it. Becky's only held it 5 times. Sasha's held it only about 4 times? Bianca's on her first. I don't even know where the other one's at. She's on injury, and I'm talking about the hugger. Well, she was hugging. Hopefully, she come back with that hug stick because I really like seeing Bayley hugging people. Like, bring the hugs back, Bayley. We need hugs because obviously people are having temper tantrum, and they all need a hug. They ruined her when they came to the main roster, and she won the championship. It's sad that a lot of these wrestlers' best years are in NXT. Best matches are in NXT. We were talking about Baron Corbin. His best matches were in NXT. Sami Zayn. Best matches in NXT. Shinsuke Nakamura. Best matches in NXT. They get to the main roster, and Vince ruins them. So, Mm. We're at this point where you have wrestlers that are bored. Of course, she throws the belt. That's how I see it. And they want to escort her out just for drama purposes. Yes, it's a catastrophic event that's happening right now. But at the same time, that's what they do to keep us, you know, connected on, to keep us tuning in, to keep us subscribing to Peacock, to keep us ready for the next pay-per-view, which is Survivor Series. But to be honest, people are kind of getting bored. Now, wonder the ticket sales are going down. I can see this stuff at home, and it's not going to be exciting. We need excitement. So maybe AEW has uh, um, they kind of got an idea. They kind of have what they're doing now kind of is like, okay, that makes sense. Let's have all the wrestling organizations intertwined where your wrestlers can go to other places. I see Charlotte Flair, I see a bored person. She's beating everybody. Is there anyone? Is there even with Nia Jax? That match with Nia Jax became really serious. They were hitting each other. They're to the point where they are so bored, they are smacking each other senseless because they need to feel something real. They need to feel like this is real. I need to feel those real hits.
I'm back.
He's back.
Yeah. No,
But
but
yeah,
you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. You're definitely, everything you're saying is right. AEW is salivating, and
Yeah.
like I mentioned earlier, like this is a build up, and her and Nia Jax is a perfect
Example.
segue, example
Yeah.
to bring up. But before we get to the breakdown with the about the connection with the all the transgressions that led up to this walkout, because that's exactly what it was. It was a walkout, and as you mentioned earlier, like who gets to walk out and not lose their job? Charlotte Flair. And so what we're gonna do right now is get into the wrestle gossip section of the show, and we are going to get to a story that, if I can find it, hold on one second. Let me set this up here. Here we go. Yeah, so this is the Wrestle Gossip section, guys, of Sunday Night Wrestling, presented to you by GTA Podcast. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of tea going on in the world of wrestling backstage with Charlotte Flair. Let's pull this picture up here, and shout out to Wrestle Talk for this story here. And it's the latest report that Charlotte Flair is not popular behind the scenes in WWE. And before I read this report here, this is something that obviously we were talking about, in the beginning. You spoke about, just now for the past couple of minutes. And again, shout out to Wrestle Talk. This happened the week of the draft, literally as her name was announced, heading to SmackDown that night of Raw. This came out. And again, shout out to Wrestle Talk for this gossip here. But I believe the story, because as you just mentioned, the transgressions are real. And I just didn't know that from here, it gotten worse. So we're going to read this here. And as I quote with this quote in this article right here that was pulled out here, the quote provided regarding the topic of the conversation, parentheses included, because this is sources that are sending conversations that wrestlers were saying, hearsay that wrestlers were saying, the women wrestlers were saying backstage, how Raw gets Becky, who everyone likes, quote, and SmackDown gets Charlotte, who is not popular behind the scenes, unquote. And I'll say it again, how Raw gets Becky, in parentheses, who everyone likes, and SmackDown gets Charlotte, in parentheses, who is not popular behind the scenes, unquote. So this is real interesting here. And before I dive deeper into this story here, I just want to play a clip. And this is a clip of something that I saw, and as I was mentioning to Miss Mania prior to going into the show here, I think this is going to be very eye-opening. I want you guys to take a listen to this clip here. This is all audio, so we're all going to listen together and just watch the captions. But basically, this is something that, like I said, has been brewing, and this is about from Raw Talk about I say about 2 years ago. They were doing it very frequently. And listen to what Charlotte Flair had to say about I'm entitled, you're entitled.
So it's the entitled people that get under my skin. It is the people that sit at home for a year and then come back and are in the title picture. And you call me entitled because I am busting my ass 365 days a year to be the best? No, it's the people like Nia Jax who come back and are in the title picture. I've beaten Asuka twice now, and I haven't had my title match. So what? I've had the Raw Championship how many times now? I think 5. But that means that I can't have it a 6th time? That I'm not owed that? I'm not owed a title match? No, it's people like Sasha Banks who take time off and then come back in the title picture. But I'm entitled? No, it's the entitled people that get under my skin. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest.
I bet. So yeah, like this is interesting, you know. I think that clip was just really eye opening because Raw Talk is where they get to go and shoot to the fans. And for those that don't know the wrestling lingo, shooting is basically the truth in pro wrestling. And Charlotte was speaking from how she felt from the girls backstage, because the perception, according to this report, and this rumor report here, that she's not liked, and she hasn't been liked for a while. And as I mentioned in the opening, you're the daughter of Ric Flair, and as you said, Miss Mania, you get what you want. You're the privilege of wrestlers. You're the Karen of WWE, which is what Twitter calls her sometimes when she's over here demanding and begging and slapping Shayna, Sonya, the execs, and kicking the security and all this stuff with kayfabe and stuff. But at the same time, you actually live this character like your dad. And that can get in the way of your personal relationships, even just love life. But we're going to get to a love life because her man is behind her. So there's no friction there. The friction is at work. And at work, as a female wrestler, you want to be respected. Well, as a wrestler, period. But as a female wrestler in this industry, you want to be respected by your peers. You want not only the adulation from the fans or whatever you want to hashtag your stands or whatever, but you want that, and it's sad that it had to get to this point, that the back now what's going on backstage is exuding outstage, in front of the fans, and now she tossed the title on SmackDown, and then so forth, all this other stuff start to snowball, but this is what happens when you have the reputation that precedes you. And no matter who the hell you are, no matter who your father is, your reputation precedes you. And now it's coming out that no one likes you. And to that notion, let me pull up my Twitter account, because literally I got some tweets literally within the last hour of us starting this show. Let me go pull up my bookmarks here. And these are all the sources here that are saying here. And shout out to PW Torch saying here, one wrestler said Becky Lynch is seen as a hero for standing up to Charlotte Flair, who over the course of this year has alienated her colleagues backstage with attitude issues. One wrestler says she's been increasingly difficult to work with. It goes on here. Breaking 14 hours ago. Shout out to PW Torch again. Nobody wants to work with Charlotte Flair in WWE. This is turning into something that I didn't think was going to turn into this, you know. And as I was saying to you, Miss Mania, like I think this is the icing on the cake. I think everyone is tired of the shits. You know, you bring up Nia Jax, and we all watched that one live too. And I was speaking to my partner about it today as we were watching WrestleMania. And you know, yes, Nia Jax did try to go for a back suplex, and she did almost, you know, nailed Charlotte on her neck, the back of her neck, and it looked really awful, slightly dangerous and borderline, you know, like you wanted to kill her. But however, you know, according to reports, Charlotte doesn't like to make other people look good. She doesn't like to be, you know, you can't hurt her. She doesn't like to take bumps, you know. And some people say that's not true because she's always doing the moonsault. Okay, yeah, that's making her look good, but she doesn't like making other people look good. You look at her matches and how some matches it always looks rough, you know. And according to the story about the picture, let me pull up this damn picture that says 1,000 words. She being Charlotte, she had a issue with Becky Lynch, and this is something that's gonna go back to that picture. And so let me pull up the story. So according to this story here, right. So they got into a confrontation backstage, Becky and Charlotte. And shout out to Cage Side Seats for the reporting here on this one. And there's just so much to this story that I'm just like, this is really becoming a thing. And once again, like I said, this is all stemming from when she threw the damn belt. And it all just went left from there. So K-Side C says here real quick, and then I'll get Miss Mania to chime in. It goes on to say the championship swap was because WWE isn't good at planning out most stories more than a week at a time. We all know that. And it was a stupid swap titles, the dumbest thing. They're so right here. Now, according to PW Insider, the segment between Lynch and Flair was not supposed to go off the rails. Before the show, Charlotte, as I said to you before the show, as I earlier in this show, you know, she was expressing concerns all day. She did not want to look weak, nor did she want her title reign to look weak. Which one? The 8th, the 7th, the 10th, the 12th? Which one? Again, as I said earlier in this show, you know, it's not our fault. It's your fault for allowing them to book you like this. This, you know, and let's go back 6 years ago when you and Sasha was having this feud, and Monday Night Raw was like title hot potato between you and Sasha. You win this week, next week she wins, next week you guys have a no DQ. The following week it's in the Hell in a Cell. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's how you originally, both of y'all was getting your title reigns at that time before Becky became the man and she was doing jobbers. Or actually Becky was getting jobbed, and you know, people were demanding to see more of her, and then a la the man and so forth. Here we are, fast forward. But it's just like, so again, who follows that? You show up to work and you're like, okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, great. And then yeah, like you said, Miss Mania, she is the daughter of a legend. She is the privileged Karen of wrestling. So yeah, you're gonna get your way because guess what? Guess what? Every night, her daddy was backstage. So yeah, you're damn right. No one's gonna fuck with her. So you know, and until Ric Flair just got recently, you know, fired. Well, he quit. He, you know, requested to leave, and then Dark Side of the Ring came out, and now he's canceled. Good riddance. But now, you know, okay, so and you know, not to say he doesn't have the pull still, you know, she's still a Flair. However, I think that the fact that it's coming out is snowballing like this, and people are leaking, and like I said, it's obvious appearing on television that girl, something is off. And you know, her and Nia had horrible matches since the beginning. And Nia, you know, say what you want about Nia, she may be the you know, she took she took the botch torch from, I guess, the Bellas, if you will, and now she's the botch girl, but she's actually trying to injure, and I think trying very loosely, because sometimes it looked like she's really trying to kill people, and I guess she's, you know, she plays that character very well to the point where sometimes she don't know her own strength. And again, and that's another one some people may say, but this is not about Nia. Nia's not known backstage. There's no like real reports right now that's going on with Nia. People are standing up against Nia. People are standing up against Charlotte Flair and saying Becky Lynch is the hero. So we need to know, like, you know, what exactly, because it can't just be the fact that, you know, she's the Flair and she gets what she wants. That plays part in it. And then on the other side, like I was saying, watching WrestleMania and getting the more facts and, just sourcing out the information and stuff, like talking to my partner about it, like, yeah, at the other side, she's a woman in this industry. So she has to stand up on her convictions. But unfortunately, this industry, and this goes for everyone, male, female, this industry breeds selfishness, because of the capitalism and everything. And I, no one fought for me and I busted my ass and da da. So it's not, so people are not looking out for each other. Everyone's looking out for themselves, basically what I'm trying to say. So that's why, Charlotte has to do that, because Ric Flair is doing it. Everyone does that in this business, especially as you mentioned, Miss Mania, if you can afford to get that privilege to speak up for yourself. Not everyone can. Leo Rush couldn't. Bray Wyatt couldn't. I could go down a list of everyone. Not all of them who were fired on Black Wednesday. Not all of them were. But then again, maybe they all were. Who knows? But what we do know is that a very few people, just like Sasha Banks, get to not get vaxxed and show up to work. She gets to go back 3 years ago with the WrestleMania situation. Shout out to the Inspiration who debuted last night on Impact, aka the Iconics, when they won the tag team titles at WrestleMania and took the titles from Bayley and Sasha, the Boston Hug connection. And Sasha, according to reports, she had a big situation. It may not be true, it may not, but who gets to do that? Take 6 months off and literally walk off the company and then come back. And yes, she said she had mental health issues, which probably was true. But again, who gets to do that? Not some new wrestler.
Sasha.
Not some. Thank you, wrestlers who have privilege. And that's what we're talking about. So back to the Charlotte story. Now people are over your privilege, girl. They're over you, Karen. So what do you got to say of this Mania?
I think you said a mouthful. Definitely, we are at this point where, there are not a lot of wrestlers. We're trying to build some new next superstars, right? And until we build superstars that can stand up to these women caliber for what these women have done, and I'm speaking of the 4 horsewomen, we're going to have always run into these problems. Who else in the woman, if you lose Charlotte, if you lose Becky, I'm just saying, I know people love her, but if you lose Charlotte, Becky, Sasha, and Bayley from WWE, the women's division falls. There's no one to really carry it. They'll have to make some new stars. I'm sure we can have Asuka come in there and maybe a couple of other ones, but it'll never be the same. It won't be. I tell you, it won't be a main event. Maybe Bianca. Bianca. I'm still saying Bianca is a couple of years away for where she is, like that at that peak. But for a black woman, come on. We all know where that leads after a while. But Charlotte knows her wealth. She's like, you're not gonna fire me. I dare you. That's what she's saying to Vince. I dare you. I dare you to fire me. I'm gonna curse everyone out. I'm gonna make people's life difficult because in my mind, and this is just probably me, I don't think she wants to work there anymore. And I feel like she's gonna ask for a pay raise very soon, which is Vince is gonna be like, I can't pay you that much. Well, you either pay me or I'm not re-signing my contract. I'm gonna make it hell. She loves Andrade. Charlotte was not at WrestleMania this year because Andrade was leaving, and they told her if we give Andrade his contract back, and we let him go, but you can't be at WrestleMania. That's one of the reports I got. Oh, you can't be at WrestleMania. And she wasn't at WrestleMania. That shows you the depth Charlotte would go. She knows her wealth. Then she was there right there on Raw the next day, ranting and raving about not being at WrestleMania. Charlotte knows what she's doing, and she knows how to work a crowd. She knows she has all the talent. So maybe she's not getting along because she's not getting, let's just say she ain't getting that egolo, like she wants it, and she's away from my baby because if she didn't love him, she wouldn't jump on a plane and fly to Florida just to be with him. And if she's being with him, guess what, guys? she's around AEW wrestlers and stars, and you know they're trying to say, Charlotte, you should come over this way. She knows those people. She's getting to know them. She wants a new start. But Vince is not letting you out your contract. She's way too valuable. They're gonna have to take her Karen and everything else. And usually white guys know how to deal with a Karen because their mothers are Karen, their aunts are Karen, their sisters are Karen, their grandmothers are Karen, their great grandmothers are Karen. They're raised in a generation of Karens. They know that to them is just like second nature. It's like having a second hand. So that doesn't mean anything to them. Maybe to us Afro black people, maybe we're like, shit, she's a bitch. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's blonde hair, tall, blonde hair, blue eyes. That's a bitch. That's a bitch. If she was untalented, like say for instance, the one that came from Ronda Rousey, then we would say, oh girl, bye, go ahead, go to another place, see you later. But she's not. She's the one that beat the hell out of Ronda Rousey. Charlotte has a lot of acolytes under her. Does that mean she should be a bitch? No. But she is, because you know why? Just like all Karens, they're privileged and they know they can. Because there are no repercussions for that. She can run around and actually do what she want to do. If she wanted to shit right there in the middle of the floor and have someone else clean it up, guess what? It's going to be cleaned up. They just say, hazardous work environment. That's all they'll say. And then they'll get on with the show. Not to say she really do that, but she just have that privilege. She knows she can. When she walks out, she has the same guy with the cornrows open the rope for her. So I guess he's a Charlotte Flair fan. He loves her because every time I look, I say, hey, that's the same guy with the guy that one of the team guys that work outside the ring. He opens the rope for Charlotte. He's there for Charlotte. So she has this privilege. She knows she's Ric Flair's daughter. Who else is the queen? Like I keep saying, that Queen of the Ring meant shit if it didn't have Charlotte in it. And I say this because privilege is something that white people have. We've been seeing it now, and people are bringing it to the forefront, but that doesn't mean it's going to change. It's going to take a long time, not in our lifetime, where it changed. That privilege is not going to be something that is going to be something that they hold dear to themselves. Becky, she's privileged, but she's Becky from Ireland. She's not American, down south, homegrown Becky. People like Becky, yeah, sure. They like the character, sure. But they might like her. Sure. That part of being a privileged person is people don't have to like you. When you're at certain jobs and everyone hates the boss, does the boss care? No. You don't have to like me. I can be a whole total asshole. And guess what? You take it or you get out of here. Can Charlotte have someone fired? Absolutely, if she wanted to. Absolutely. Can she throw a match? Can she do things in a match will get you hurt? Sure. If she wanted to. Can she smack you? She did Nia Jax. Where's Nia? Gone. Is she injured? We don't know. Because Nia is Samoan. She's not white. You put your hands on the white girl and guess what? Yeah, you're going to be reprimanded. Will you be back? We don't know. We just don't know.
Ain't that something? That's so interesting. You just said that. Like Nia Jax, the family member of The Rock, the real member of the bloodline, like literally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she can't hurt this prissy queen, Karen.
Nope.
She can't like hurt in a sense of like, have her take these hard bumps because she don't want to injure whatever, or and then also too,
What?
I will say that Charlotte, like she, and that's why even I said, to my partner, back to that whole story, like when we were watching it and just, we tend to pause a lot and just converse over the story, but just saying like,
Right.
she has a lot to own up to this too. Like, no one's saying like, because at the same time, like I brought up with the Nia thing, like Nia did do something unsafe, and that was one time of many times with Nia with other people as well. But Charlotte, you have has a lineage of list of things, and this again is about you and how you notoriously just don't like to let other people look good. Nia may be a botch, full of botches and injury people, but she does her job. That's what we're talking about.
Right.
And again, this is a job. And some people will say, well, suck it up, Charlotte. And then on the other side, like I said, I stand for her as well, any worker who feels they getting mistreated. And we know in wrestling, 90% of it may be true, specifically with women wrestlers. A lot of the men, it may just boil down to creative or money, but women, it's about respect. And you're going to respect me. This is not the Moolah era where she has a title like for 9,000 days. This is where, these women of the women revolution / evolution now, they actually want to wrestle. And this is why, someone like a Eva Marie, she did what she was supposed to do. She did what she's supposed to gave. She gave the body sexy video vixen who don't want to wrestle and possibly cannot wrestle, and she's okay with that. And so is Vince. Everyone they know what they're doing with us, and she knows that too. That's why she wasn't even in the draft, and they're saying she's doing a movie. Okay, bye. See you later. But there are wrestlers there who are waiting to get their shot, such like Naomi, who I'm already pissed. Because just like, they do with all the other black wrestlers, including the male ones, a la Kofi Mania, you got to fight and gravel and do a 20-man gauntlet and lick Vince's boot. And so here's Naomi. I want a match. And I love Sonya. This channel, we support the gays here. This is a gay-friendly channel. This is a safe fucking space, okay? #WrestleQueer. However, wrestling is all about the creative. And I'm just like, okay, y'all better build this. And then they do what they do to Naomi. Again, she's still begging. And this past week she got beat up by the help being Shayna. So what I like is that there were two gays in the ring, Sonya and Shayna, beating up Naomi. I was okay, this is good. Because one, the gays get shine, but at the same time, I'm like, damn, Naomi, rooting for #Black Wrestling draws. Like we want the black wrestlers to win and all the titles that we're gaining with Big E and now King Xavier. Like, but I'm like, damn. Like, with the Shayna thing, I'm like, but I know that's not about Shayna, it's all about Charlotte. It's just like, so right there, I'm just like, okay, I don't know what we have here, but I didn't like the initial take with it with Naomi. But I now I'm seeing, okay, if this is going to be a triple threat, because I believe Sonya's getting in that ring. But again, back to, these people they're working, they're workers. Like, I'm sure Naomi didn't like her storyline. Speaking of her, like, she's like, damn, I got to do this again. But guess what? She goes out there, she does it. Us fans, we do the #Naomi deserves better. Y'all can't stand it, too bad. But that's what we're going to do.
And why she has to go out there and she has to do it again and do it again and do it again, even though Naomi been champion before and she's done so much.
Thank you. And just like Becky, Becky had she got sidetracked, that being the pregnancy. Naomi got sidetracked the title belt too, and she was injured when she won in that WrestleMania in Orlando back when. She was injured, so she had to go and vacate it or whatnot. So she never really got a full title, and just like Finn never got to hold his Universal title. Shout out to the Demon. And also shout out to the Demon that showed up on Impact last night too. We got two Demons, child. I don't know. But anyway, it's a lot happening in wrestling. Some may say Charlotte's a demon. Who knows? But
is she? She might be. Is she?
It is Halloween. Who knows? No, it's just interesting how all these pieces are coming together back in the fold. But yeah, but what are you gonna add to it?
Right. At this point, I think we made our case on why this person is more privileged than this person, why Charlotte can just hold the belt out and drop it while Becky, stretches across to try to grab it. So we all know what's that going on, and why she can do it, and go
Yeah.
back and still have a job next week, and still not take a pay cut, and still put it for a pay raise just after she did that, and fly over to Florida and be with AEW wrestlers and their people and over there, and still not take any repercussions from it because she is Charlotte Flair. She knows what she's doing.
Well,
At the end of
yeah.
the day,
Uh-huh.
they just have to do better. We know what Vince McMahon is, and this is Vince McMahon. All I gotta say is you reap what you sow.
Well, I agree with you with that 1000%. And with that being said, we are going to take a quick break. And coming
Whew.
up, yes, we
Mm-hmm.
are 1 hour in here. Coming up, we're going to talk about what happened. And I want to
Mm-hmm.
thank everyone for joining us in here. This has been a edition of the Wrestle Gossip part of DTA podcast, Sunday Night
Yes.
Wrestling here. So,
Mm-hmm.
and as I mentioned, guys, coming up, we are going to be talking about what happened when this went out to the public. Her man said this at 11:11 p.m. Friday night to you know who. We're going to talk about that and so much more. And as we were mentioning in the beginning of the show, and as Miss Mania just mentioned there, with the other company that they call the alternative company, but we know it's really not because the war is real. Will she or won't she? We come back with our part two of Wrestle Gossip, all that and so much more. This is just the news keeps coming, guys. And yeah, so we're gonna talk about that and basically what I think will happen next. I'll give my opinion before we wrap this show up. We'll be right back here on Sunday Night Wrestling.
Bitch!
It's one of those situations where, they knew about it, but was anyone saying anything? And clearly they weren't. And I have so many Facebook groups. I'm just trying to see which one to send it to because it's like, you know, you want to be fair. Oh, I did join Bianca Belair fans forever. See, now I know what groups I'm part of. Right. So this is just this is interesting. This is just I know what I would do. What would you do? And no, this is not a TV show. Shout out to you, John Quinones. I watch too much TV. I know. So this is a serious thing. So we now know who it is. Let me pull up this damn thing. Let me pull up this story here. Because so after she released this tweet, right? And let's go back to the tweet. Let's go back to the tweet because it's important. It's important that we go back to the original story. We go back to the original story here, and we're gonna pull up the tweet and we're gonna talk about it. So she tweets this out, right? She tweets this out and instantly it goes bananas. It goes everywhere, right? And everyone and professional wrestling obviously is talking about it and retweeting it and la 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 la, and everything is happening. And and when this stuff happens, I normally just kind of like try to not really pay attention, but I'm paying attention because I'm like, okay, where is this going, kind of thing. And like, because sometimes a lot of things on social media isn't really what it seems, to be honest with you. So it's like, you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt and then just kind of, wait to see if this ends up in other places. And it did. This was a real story. So now we have Mickey James, who is in this situation, as I said, Mickie James Aldis, she is married to a pro wrestling god, as some would say, the 800 plus day reigning NWA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis. Like, hello, Mickie James is no one to snark at. So here we go, guys. We have someone who is telling her truth. She is telling a story. Once again, this is her story, right? This is her moment to tell her truth. And what does she get? She gets a trash bag in the mail. And yes, I'm gonna keep saying it. She gets a trash bag in the mail. This is your former champion, Vince. What are you going to do? And I'm about to get to the rest of the show. I know I've been spending like a good, what? Where are we? Where are we here? How long have we been running here? About 20 minutes or so. Listen, I know. But this is a story here. This is your champion. Why would you treat your champion like this? I don't get it. Oh, that's right. That's right. I know why. Because you don't care about women. Right. Okay. Got it. So after all this came out, the story came out about, then you know what? Because then it gets comical here. It gets comical here after this. So after all that happened, right? So then now we have the whisper in the wind start happening. Everyone sees the tweets, and it starts to hit backstage, and everyone is like, what's going on? It starts hitting the dirt sheets and the Meltzers and the Fightfuls and everyone and Diva Dirts, and everyone is putting out their stories here, and then now it's a real thing. So it's like, okay, but then now. So here we got the top dogs are fighting here. Here we go. So now you got Vinnie Mac and Hunter and Triple H and Steph. Here we go. And Vinnie Mac is saying, what's going on here? What's going on? Hunter, I'm hearing that there's a Twitter going on. What's going on here? There's Twitter, and he's like, oh, Vince, you hired this guy. I mean, but come on, let's be honest, guys. Let's be honest. We know what's happening. This guy who did this, who they fired, is a part of it. So yes, wow. What a break. Welcome back to DTA Podcast, late night edition, Sunday Night Wrestling, that is. We are back here. We are live. Yes, let me bring Miss Mania back in. Heard you. Yes, that was when I spoke about Mickie James, and when she got another one that got she got released, but they mailed her wrestling gear in the mail.
Wow.
In a trash bag. And he posted the tweet earlier this year, and it blew up the Twitter, and doing research, it was the same guy who did it to multiple wrestlers. Kelly came out and said it happened to her. So many wrestlers admitted that it happened to her. Maria Kanellis said she got a trash bag. Obviously, Charlotte Flair would never get a trash bag.
Never.
The person of the night that we're talking about.
No.
But it just explains how this company is notoriously just
trash bagging wrestlers. Let's
oh my gosh.
Hashtag trash bagging wrestlers. Yeah. That's the title of the next show. Trash bag wrestlers.
I can't. Yes. So now I have a question for you. Mm-hmm. We have Andrade here, as I mentioned, back to the wrestle gossip section of this show here. I do have some other topics I want to get to as well. So here we got Andrade with this tweet here that came up this past Friday night. And yeah, self-explanatory, say no more. And like I said to you, I thought that this was because of, he had a great match with Pac on, AEW Rampage. And I was like, okay, so cool. F them, right? Not thinking that, what had happened is what had happened. So, and then the article started flowing out, and she called her man, and I'm coming to you, and she said what happened, and he put his emotions on Twitter. I don't know if he deleted it. Probably didn't, because those feelings are real, and I wouldn't delete it, so hopefully he wouldn't. But this is where we are, and he has every right to do that. That's his fiance. Like, that's the woman that he loves, and his love is bigger than wrestling. Like, this is, again, about respect. And if Charlotte feels that, as we said earlier, that she felt that she wanted to protect her character, which, again, is nothing wrong. Every wrestler, you watch Dark Side of the Ring, all these other spoof documentaries that WWE want to do with A&E, and you hear every wrestler say that they want to protect their characters. There's a big thing in wrestling. You want to protect your character, and unfortunately in WWE,
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it.
Right, nothing wrong with that. And unfortunately in WWE, as you said the other day, we were watching Raw together. Like you were saying, like you realize that in WWE, wins and losses don't matter, but it does to the talent. So it's like, even though that's in this company, you win today and tomorrow you may lose to a small package, and you got to continue to go with the flow. Like WWE has turned their company culture into a culture of workers, of workhorses. And in WWE, I say it all the time when I'm watching wrestling with my partner and trying to explain to him the ideologue. Like, WWE is about workers. And yes, every company has workers, but the ideologue there is that you are a worker here. You're not here to complain. You complain when you get to the top. And back to the whole, Leo Rush situation specifically, he tried to, and I know this is a man, but Leo Rush tried to speak up, and he wasn't at the top. He was just Lashley's sidekick, and clearly outside of WWE, he is a legend to some people, a cruiserweight god, like, but WWE, you were his manager. Adam Cole. Before Adam Cole was supposed to come back to quote unquote, someone thought he was going to, some people thought he was going to stay. Vince was going to give this man $1 million, according to reports. I don't know for how long, but the character that they want Adam Cole to do, who is basically NXT, who was NXT basically in the last, 5, almost 10 years, running it with the Undisputed Era, like, all of a sudden he was going to come in as Keith Lee's manager. Keith Bearcat Lee now, but Keith Lee's manager? Like, think about that. This is what Vince is doing. So it's like, Adam Cole, again, a guy who had enough clout and opportunity, and someone say maybe, lately with the hashtag Black Wrestling Draws, that's the big thing with AEW right now. And I know it's not the conversation, but this is wrestling, and Black wrestling fans, Black Twitter, want to see more Black wrestlers succeed in AEW, just like WWE is doing. That's a whole nother show. But point being is, Adam Cole had enough leverage to do that. He could do that and walk away, and now so can Charlotte Flair. On top of, what she's done to other wrestlers. But again, this is about respect when it comes to a female dynamic. With the guys, it's more of creative control. Like I said, Adam Cole wasn't about respecting me. It was about, oh, this is what you want me to do? No, I'm good. I'm going to go over there where I could be with my best friends and we could continue the super click. Like, that's what it was. It wasn't about, with Charlotte, she's like, no, I want to protect my character. I want to make sure that if I'm the champion, I'm going to look tough. And a champion don't sit there and swap titles. No, but sweetie, that's in the script. I don't care what's in the script, Vince. And that's what happened. So now, she ran to the phone. And, and according to the reports, like we spoke earlier, after every match, Vince McMahon is, but most of the time, 90% of the time, he's there backstage in gorilla position, which, is basically just, sitting down and looking at the screens and watching the shows, and calling in the air for the commentators and the referee and stuff like that. For those that want to know how wrestling works, like, he's doing the producer calls and all that stuff. And so, yeah, and then when they go backstage, normally they, shake his hand. Even when you see Triple H on NXT, he take the pictures with all of them at every match. Like, that's what they do, But this time, according to reports, she just kept walking. And that's where, the reports came out that Vince is pissed off because, she kept walking because she didn't like, she knew what she did was wrong. And at the same time, she didn't like the fact that she kept talking to you all day and saying that I don't want to do this, Vince. But that was the plan. Swap the belt. Sasha comes out. You let Sasha fuck you up. Then we go off air. And she looks like the top babyface coming for that title and taking you down. And Charlotte is, like you said, before we wrapped up the last hour, like she probably is over it. She did everything. I got to do this again? So now I got to make Becky look good again? She is good. I thought she was a man. So now I got to help her? Like, what about me? And then on the side, like, what about you, Charlotte? What about you? And that's the conversation. It's like, I mean, I'm sure you can see that, right? I mean, I know I'm not like, it's like, this is like, just like, this is what it is. It's like, I want to do this, but they're like, but girl, you, but then it's like, so it goes both ways. And it's just like, we are not wrestlers. And that's the one thing I always tell, specifically my partner or now you and the world, like, we are not wrestlers. I'm not a wrestler. So I can't sit here and put myself in a mindset of one, aside from connecting to the current event issues of, women rights and how you watch Dark Side of the Ring and many other real documentaries that tell the real story about women wrestling and just women in life. Like, they have it hard. And so does every other marginal minority group, whatnot. But specifically women, like, and in wrestling, are you kidding me? Like, you look at Moolah, I brought her up, like, I don't have to say, you gotta do is read it. You don't even gotta watch it. Just read up on Moolah. Like, it's insane the things that she's done. And someone say she had to do, but at the same time, wrong is wrong. But it's just like, this industry is tough for women. And if you don't have the last name of a Flair, you cannot do these things. Granted, none of these things are okay to do at any job, but the people that do that are the ones who are the top producers. That's basically what we've been trying to say this whole show. And at any job, if you're a top earner, you can get away with a lot of shit. And Charlotte may not be the top merch seller like Becky is. People are buying the man, the mom, whatever shirts there are, like, but
here's a question I want to ask you. Do you think, here's something I want to ask you. We're going to get into that Andrade, because I know what El Igalo is talking about right now. But do you think, if, say, in some other alternate universe, because not probably going to happen in this one, but in any alternate universe where Vince gets rid of Charlotte, do you think Becky could be the top man in the business? Can she take what Charlotte has? Can she take and become the top selling and the top scoring and do what Charlotte did? Can she do it? Is there does it take more than one person to do this?
That is interesting. I mean, hold on. Yes, it takes answer the latter before the original question. Like, it takes more than one person to obviously make, wrestling what it is, but so yes, one person got to make the other person look good and whatnot. But I do think in this, the world that we live in right now with the way wrestling is, I do think there could be more than one face of the women's division. But with WWE, we know they only could be one. And yes, I do think Becky or Sasha or Bayley can hold it down. And Bayley did hold it down, for that past pandemic. It was her run.
But not Bianca.
But not Bianca yet. And I mean, we all say Bianca's still wet behind the ears. Sometimes, like this past week, I literally saw her calling the spots. Like, you can see her talking. She's like John Cena. Like, girl, I can see you. Maybe she needs to throw her braid around her mouth or something. And like, but I can see you, girl. Like, and unless you're there live, you're not seeing it. But on TV, it's like, girl, this HD, I can see everything. And it's like, I see it. So she got to work on that. Not being so easy to call, to call it out. Like, as a fan, you want to make sure it's believable. And, so I see her like in her head a lot. So she has to get, she has definitely, and she's gotten better, I want to see her get stronger on the mic. I right now, her character works, but I think, she's definitely going to need an evolution like Becky, from Becky Lynch to the Man. She's going to need something like that to really get her there. Right now, this EST stuff is cute, but it's very much, hood chick from Jamaica Queens. It's like, okay, I got it, but I want to see more. Same thing with Naomi. Like, Naomi could definitely be another one too. Like, she has it all. Agility, she could do freaking flips, moonsault. She could be a bad bitch. She came in with Paige and back then with that group with Tamina and whatnot. Like, and she was, they were beating girls up. Like, so, she can be a heel, she could be a face, and she could really go. But they have to book it that way. They have to make it that. They have to want to have these stars be the face and not just one. But if there was, I do believe Becky or anyone that I name, I'm not gonna go through the whole list again. Anyone that I name, and there are others too who let's say a couple years from now, I'm sure that's what you're saying, not like tomorrow, but but a couple years now can be that. Rhea Ripley, she works really well too. I don't know what's going on with this Nikki Ash girl. I don't know. She's trying to, I don't know. She's almost, or she is. I don't know. Can she fly? But anywho, like, so, they definitely have about 5 or 6 people that can run with the torch, but maybe out of those 5 or 6, 2 or 3 of them can really, because we won't know until they pull that trigger. Some would say for the men, like, let's say Roman Reigns decides to take a good 2-year absence, because he's been running a lot. You got Seth Rollins, and and who else can be that? I think Cesaro is definitely someone I could see Cesaro, but then does Vince really want to push Cesaro? Like, Vince doesn't, he did, made it seem like it, and we all fell for it. But then after that, now he comes out, it's just like, oh, okay, because it's over now. But he's a fantastic wrestler. Like, his arsenal of like just move sets, like, it's stuff you haven't seen ever. Like, some says, like, he's like watching him is like, it is like going to the circus, because you see some new things, and like, and the spin move. So there are some wrestlers who can, but specifically for the females, they have some work to do, and that's their fault, because, like you said, I believe Becky can, but then, once Becky, because that's the problem with WWE right now. Like, the women's division, they push the same people, whether it be mid cards or undercard. Like, so after a while, the one wrestler at the top beats all of them. And then, now they got this draft and stuff happening. So maybe things will change. But again, this is WWE, and some things always stay the same here. So we'll see. But I like your question though, because it's something to really think about. Because a lot of times, like right now with Roman Reigns, like, people really think Roman Reigns is the only, but it's like, is he? There are some other stars who really deserve the push moving forward. Like, when Roman does drop the title, because Roman and Brock didn't really need to be a title match. Like, that could have just been, another one of the, just a big hoss fight. Like, but I'm worried about that, with your question, because I don't think they really know. As much as Becky is a merch seller, like, I believe she can do it, but they have to write it well. And I don't mean Ronda Rousey. I mean them really investing in, the talent that they have. Like, Raquel Gonzalez need to get called up.
She should have been called up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wasting
like,
her time there. And the only reason they're not calling her up is because they don't want to first of all, they don't want her to lose too much, because, she's going to get in there, and then Charlotte's going to say, well, let her lose to me. She's still working. I feel like this is development for Raquel Gonzalez. And soon, when she's ready, she's going to get called up. Hopefully, they try to say they have to really protect their wrestlers. And she is somebody that Vince is looking at like, I know she could be champion one day, but is Charlotte going to let her? Is Charlotte going to put her over?
That's crazy. And I mean, these are the same stories we heard from Hogan. You go through so many things. Hogan did not want to let people go over, including Warrior, Macho Man, all the people that we see him for throughout his career. Like, and it's just, this is what happens when you're privileged Karens and privileged, well, now we call them Chads and Karens, unfortunately. So it's just, it's all of that. But yeah, so back to the wrestle gossip. We got Andrade, her mans, putting out this tweet, as we mentioned, and F you know who. And and from there, I started digging, and then I found this report here Will she be showing up in AEW? And how would it happen? How would we book it? So shout out to Essentially Sports for this one here. This was during the summer when Andrade made his debut and went around, did a press tour, and leading up to his fight with Kenny Omega, the number one wrestler in the world. Shout out to PWI 500. And yeah, so, and by the way, Roman Reigns is number 2. Okay, for those that, so yeah, basically Andrade wants his fiance in AEW. He, made sure he let all the blogs know. And like I said, this was during the summer. So it, kind of came and gone. And everyone's like, yeah, whatever. It ain't happening. Never happening. You never happening. She ain't never leaving. And, now that this stuff comes up, this, it just get all this back swirling. So now it says here, Andrade and Charlotte, 2 vital superstars for their respective brands. Andrade El Idolo has impressed wrestling fans with his brief run in AEW so far. There was no question about the potential of Andrade, as his talents and skills were evident during the WWE stint. But the former WWE superstar has elevated his career since his debut for AEW and has turned to be one of the vital stars of AEW. And as of this past Friday, his match with Pac was everything, and I want more. Anywho, on the other hand, Charlotte Flair is one of the centerpieces of WWE Women's Division and is an exceptional performer in the ring. WWE certainly has long-term plans for Charlotte, just like Roman Reigns, as the WWE considers these 2 superstars as their untouchable assets of the company. So there again, as I said in the beginning of this show, they book you and protect. They book you in that way of making you, the top person. It seeps into her, and then she's a
Let me
daughter
tell you something.
of a father.
If Andrade is saying he wants Charlotte by him, you better bet your ass she wants to be by him too in AEW. She wants to leave. That's why she's kind of dropping stuff. And for someone that is privileged, that has so much privilege, that has so much stock, I'm gonna say stock. Let's say she has a lot of stock in WWE, or they have a lot of stock in her. They're not trying to let her go. This is one of those contracts that we say that Diddy did, that RuPaul did to his people. They don't want to let you go. They want to hold you under this contract until you literally have to burn the contract in their hands in order to get out of there. It's like a slave trade. Once you get that strong slave, why would you sell it off to someone else so their farm could be kept right, so their farm could start growing and harvesting good fruit from this labor? You need them. You need her. They want her. They don't want to give her away. They know AEW get her. The women's revolution goes to AEW. So, unfortunately, when you have talent like that, and you're in love, love makes you do strange things. They talk about this. They talk about this often. It's nothing that it just happens. They talk about it. Charlotte talks about how she feels like, I'm sick of this. It's boring. I don't care about putting this person over. I'm sick of being nice to these people. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to leave. I'm ready to go. Vince is not going to let you go. She had to give her own rights to get Andrade out. As we say, free the slaves. She freed him. And now look at his career is growing at leaps and bounds. He'll be champion soon, growing at leaps and bounds. Charlotte wants the same thing. She's not getting the same adulation as she gets when she walks out to WWE as she would get to she walk out to AEW. I don't see anyone crying because Roman Reigns came back, but they cried when CM Punk came back. That's all I'm saying. It's a different kind of reaction in WWE and AEW. She wants that apart. She wants that freedom. Then we'll see another Charlotte. Maybe they'll tell us in AEW, oh, Charlotte is great to work with because she's ready to get the hell out of there. She knows what they did to her father. Ric Flair didn't just say, I'm going to. He knew he had to get over there because, they offered him the money and they brought him back. They brought him over there and he won the Royal Rumble and won the championship all in one day. Like he said, with a tear in my eye. This is the greatest moment of my life. And then it fleeted and faded, and it's done. It's in history. Now Ric Flair's fired. And Charlotte's like, I'm out of here too with these stupid ass storylines of this woman being pregnant by Ric Flair. Now she's gone. We don't know what happened to her because she's not getting the same thing Becky got when Becky went off and got pregnant and came back and became champion the first night she was back. And now she's Raw champion, So there's a lot of privilege going around. Even though people get it wrong, but there's a lot of privilege going around that they can't do. I'm sorry, because Bianca just had a career. She probably can't even get pregnant and go away right now. But if she did, guess what? Her career's over.
Yeah. You bring up Ric Flair in a situation and it's definitely interesting on, she's not like backstage.
No.
So, and like you said, the father, he got into this storyline and those that didn't see Dark Side of the Ring, this is a little spoiler alert, but Plane Ride from Hell will definitely change your opinion on Ric Flair. And, it makes it all make sense on the psychological impact that wrestling has.
Right.
But however, wrong is wrong. And, Ric Flair, that's a whole nother episode, but I get what you're saying with the Lacey, because Lacey Evans didn't like it either. And she was really pregnant and Charlotte did not like it. And that's where, a week later, it stopped or whatever. And then obviously he
never heard from him again.
Yeah, and
never
so,
heard from him again.
So it all makes sense, but that was Ric Flair. Well, that is who he is, and that was his character. So he is his character, and that's the problem he's dealing with now. And that's what I'm saying with Charlotte. Like, I think that can be her too. Like, where one, like you said, we keep saying she's the daughter of the man who basically put professional wrestling in America on the map. Let's say that. Okay. Let's just say that. Ric Flair was professional wrestling in America in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Okay, 2000, John Cena came and moved on, okay? And now Roman Reigns, the Shield, all that good stuff, we're here. So we cannot deny that. That is a fact. That is why he is the 16th time champion. And no, John Cena winning 16 belts is not going to erase Ric Flair, because Ric Flair won the titles in multiple promotions. We cannot say that enough.
Multiple. Okay? You need that. And any of them wrestlers, they know they need that. You need to go to other promotions and pick up those wins there to make you who the champion you are. Vince is trying to legitimize his company where you only need to win belts there and you are a world champion. You're not respected by the whole wrestling industry. Those wrestlers are not. Not to the point of they want to be. They got to get out there and put that real work in. You're not putting the real work in here, flipping, wasting your talents, flipping off the top of the ropes of the ring, Charlotte, onto the same women over and over again on a night. I mean, we all know putting over certain girls. I'm going to put her over, but she's not bidding me for my championship. I'm sure that was in it. We all know what her wealth is. She's upset because she's not with her man, and he's not going to let Charlotte go. It's the same thing they did to Dustin and Cody Rhodes. Why you think they have this problem with Vince McMahon now? Why you think that Dustin Rhodes was never champion in WWF? Why you think that they never really popped off with the Stardust and the Goldust thing? It could have been tag team champions. I wanted to see, Vince wasn't having all that. They made Dusty Rhodes put on polka dots and come out with someone named Sable. A Sapphire. Some little short black woman with jerry curls from down south somewhere. And she come out dancing and stuff. He pulled her from out the ring and she came out dancing, and that became his little sidekick, his little dancing partner. She come out dancing and he come out dancing, Yeah. And that was it. And then he started losing, and then that was it. There was nothing else. No one put Dusty Rhodes over. He didn't become champion in there. So you don't need that. I mean, but he did build NXT. That's off Dusty Rhodes' back.
Thank you. And that's why, and it's interesting, he did that with Triple H, though.
Yeah.
The one person who, love him or hate him, Triple H, he's the one person who really made a lot of the people who got fired come back to WWE in the most, I'll say about the last 20, maybe 30, actually, no, I'll say 20 years because he's been backstage for about a little over 10 years. But he's been really the one making these people return. Not so much the Undertaker or whatever. The Undertaker is Vince McMahon's, that's his pet. But everyone else is definitely Samoa Joe and, like you said, holding NXT afloat. Now it's in obviously Vince's hands with the 2.0 whatnot. But you're absolutely right. But it's just important to just, put the nuance on who Dusty worked with, because Cody Rhodes is, you bring up the Rhodes family, they're still suing to get rights of what their dad owned with everything WCW, including the pay-per-views that he created, and WWE owns that. So that's something that they could go back and forth. And I believe Cody did drop the last trademark fight. But every so often when the trademarks are available, they try to get it. And then they go through this court fight with WWE and it's just not stop. So you're absolutely right. Vince McMahon can really ruin a family, and that's why some families don't go against the grain. I mean, and rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero. I'll never forget, hearing what Vicky said that, they can't use his name because WWE owns it, and the man is dead. They can't use his name, not even to create a not-for-profit, nothing, because that is owned by this company because of those stupid life or death contracts, if you will. But so this is what the flip side that Charlotte Flair and Ric Flair have to think about if she does makes this decision to go to AEW. He owns you.
She will lose that Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, she won't be able to become a Charlotte Flair. Unless she owns her rights to her name. And that's something a lot of wrestlers need to start taking advantage of, is putting the money aside. I think it's about $500 to $1,000, and copyright your name, trademark your name, and every 10 years just up the trademark again, own your name, because that's how specifically Vince and a lot of other these companies, I don't know AEW is doing yet, we don't know their contracts yet, but a lot of other companies they follow suit. And that's how you keep wrestlers, it's called the likeness thingy, where they hold, forever, basically.
The likeness clause.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact that if Ric Flair still owns his name from every promotion he's always been Ric Flair, he would give his daughter that kind of knowledge. Let's own your trademark immediately. Because she walks out of there as some other name, I would really be upset about that.
She might come in AEW as her real name, Ashley. She might come in
Ashley Flair. I'm not bad. I mean,
she might come in as Ashley.
Yeah, she better know to own. She's her father. She's a second generation wrestler. If her father didn't tell her to own her name now, then he made a big mistake, and he didn't give his daughter the right kind of advice. Because he should have done that. That should have been done. That should have been done.
I hope we're right, but that is the big thing specifically with WWE, and why certain wrestlers leave and certain wrestlers just stay forever, like the Undertaker. Where's the Undertaker gonna go? He owns the Undertaker. You think he has time to go create a whole new character? This is what I talk about, a lot, and it's just because these wrestlers, they're literally locked. Where you go, for instance, Braun Strowman. Right now, he there are reports that Braun is supposed to be making his debut any moment, any day, and we don't know, but he can't come as Braun. So it's these wrestlers have to recreate.
He's not
their whole
and
new
a lot
persona.
of times when they create their persona, they own their name immediately. They go on their other person's name, so they can't own their name, so they can hold them forever.
Yep. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane, but that's the way they've been operating. So who knows? But back to the Charlotte Flair thing. So let's talk about somebody who is known as a stooge, if you will. And first of all, let me say this. Listen, you guys heard it earlier in the show, and I'm gonna keep saying it. We support our black wrestlers. All the way from Bearcat, right to freaking Leo Rush. I'll just extend that far. However, all skin folk ain't kinfolk, and that goes for every sector. But specifically with our black folks, I need Mr. five-time WCW champion and Hall of Famer. I think twice, not 5 times, but anywho. from his show, the Hall of Fame podcast, and everything else that he does, and his wrestling school. He Booker T is a great guy. He birthed a lot of women stars, including Kara Hogan and so many others. Who I love, and shout out to Kara. Hashtag WrestleQueer. Hello. She just got signed to AEW, so making moves. And so I respect him for what he does and stuff. But when it comes to certain issues in the company, he's always the first to come and defend Vince and WWE, even when they're wrong. And even when this stuff have nothing to do with him, he's just like Cornette. He's at the point where people run to their shows and say, "Oh, I know what they're gonna see, what they're gonna say. Let me go to Booker T, let me go to Cornette, see what I know they're gonna make fun. He's gonna talk about Orange Cassidy or whatever stupid shit, whatever's going on for the week or whatever. And I get it, but then when he says things like this, it's just okay. Because like we said, this is I said, and I don't know if you 100% agree, but I'm gonna stay with what I said. This to me is bigger than all the other issues that we said, including the biggest story that no one likes her backstage. That's the biggest one. It's coming out, people are defiantly saying that we're not fucking with her or us, kind of thing. So they're standing behind Becky, and now we all know that she is hated and Becky is the hero. And I was I said this off air, but I'm gonna say it on air. I know, quiet as kept. I know Sasha Banks is oh, thank God, the heat is off of me, because
right.
We're all sitting there questioning Sasha, is she? Isn't she? We don't know. Right. But anyway, so and now it's all on Charlotte and whatnot. So here you got Booker T, and this is a quote. It says, "I think Charlotte Flair needs to set her priorities straight. Ever since Andrade went to AEW, her allegiances have been off. I heard she left right after SmackDown to go to Dynamite, which was last night live from Orlando, Florida, which is her prerogative. That's her man. Again, you're the champion in WWE. This is your life and your duty to have your heart 100% in WWE." Is that man, is he insane? Is he insane? What? I'm sorry. So is this a cult? I'm confused. So wait, let me read this again. He said, "You're the champion in WWE. This is your life." And I'm adding all the emphasis to it. It's not like it's all big, caps. I'm adding this emphasis because this is how it's coming off to me. "And your duty to have your heart 100% in WWE," which means you can't even know. But that's her fiance. So because now, and this is the issue, because now it's out, we're talking about it. We know that she flew to Florida. We're not supposed to know that. Her heart's supposed to always be here. That's her man. And she could go see her man. What are you saying, Booker T? I just don't understand. Now, if she's going to AEW, that we just to be determined. But she can fly to Florida to go see her man. And yes, the girls are snitching on her. How else do you think the reports leaked? I'm sure it's probably with Sasha Banks. Oh, let me text such and such. She's out of here. And now it's hit the dirt sheets, and now we know. Just like she like you said earlier last hour, she left Mania to go be with her man. She wasn't at Mania for the first time ever. And then this past summer, in August, right before SummerSlam, she was supposed to be at a house show. And she was just like same thing they did with Sasha. WWE promoted her all to the whole night. Everyone came. I want to see Charlotte, wanted to see the Queen. And then they made the announcement, Charlotte Flair is not here, literally during the match, just like they did with Sasha. WWE got some issues, yo. They got some issues because you're false advertising your fans to keep them in the seats because you don't want to lose ticket sales, but you are anyway. So you're lying to the fans because she again, privileged Karen. I ain't showing up. So she didn't show up that night. And guess what? That was the same night her man was fighting in Mexico, Kenny Omega, for the AAA world title. And guess who else was there? Her daddy. He came out on TV that night, participated in the match. So now the legacy is here. This is the new legacy. El Idolo in the Flair. El Idolo, he is Mexico, and she is American Pro Wrestling, the daughter of the man who basically put American Pro Wrestling on the map. And this is her allegiance. This is her man. And yeah, you're damn right. Like you said, Miss Maynard, she wants to be with him. I believe this 1000% now. Question is, how does she get out of this without ruining everything that she built, her and her family built?
Like I said, I'm going to stick by him. I'm going to stick beside him. I'm going to stick beside him. That's your man. Look at him. Mm-hmm. Look at him. That's your man. Look at him.
So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is interesting.
And that's who you choose to stick by. I'm going to stick beside him.
Can I say this is one of my favorite pictures? This is one of my favorite pictures.
I love it.
And then this one here too.
I'm not gonna. You know what?
This is true and Vince, I'm sure. Look at that picture. He got the WWE hat on. He got the AEW hat on. I'm done.
Let me tell you this. At one point, I am not. I could sit here and rip Charlotte to new ass, but what I'm seeing is she wants to stand by her man. And so that's sometimes people run towards happiness. Charlotte is not happy. This is what I'm getting from this whole interview, from this whole podcast today. Charlotte wants to be happy, and sometimes that projects in negative ways to other people. She wants to be happy. She wants her man. She wants her man. She does this for her man. Vince don't want to let her out. We talked about Vince. That's Vince's logic. This is like a whole Vince logic for you. Because this is what Vince does. He traps them. And he makes them look like they're the bad guy. But is Charlotte really the bad guy? Or is Charlotte want to be with her man? She's tired of being in the WWE. And I can't even fault her for that one. We know what the WWE has been doing. She doesn't want to be around in this. She wants to be with her man. Look, they're a happy couple. I just can't, bring that down.
Can I just say, are they? Wait, hold on. They have these two. I'm laughing because these two people are very wealthy.
Right.
I'm sure. Why are they at Planet Fitness? Isn't that Planet Fitness in the background?
Is it?
Isn't it like $1 to join?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. Rich people like to go cheap, baby. They like to go cheap.
You ain't lying about that. You ain't lying.
That's how they stay rich. Only poor people, we go the most expensive, just to look so we won't look poor. But rich people are like, I'm rich already, so I don't even care about looking poor, because looking poor is one perspective, but being rich is just a whole nother. So, and at this point right now, Charlotte, you wouldn't be happy, my love. Go be happy. I doubt if Rick will let you do that, but I get it. No, I get it. I definitely get it. So at some point, I definitely get that she wants to, live her life. So live your life, Charlotte. What can I say after that one? Live your life. Screenshots, live photos. So yeah, live your life. But that's all I have to say right now. I really, because I just feel like that Charlotte has done a lot, and like I said, when you hit that glass ceiling and there's nowhere else to go, it's nothing. Well, you have nothing to prove. I was just watching a great movie, a great movie the other day, Captain Marvel, where there is another blonde-headed woman that's streaking across the galaxy, and this man tells her, "Put the light show down. Come on, fight me one-on-one. Let's see what you got." And then she shoots a laser out of her hand, and she shoots him into the wall. And the first thing she came to him and said, "I have nothing more to prove to you." And that is what Charlotte is saying right now. I have nothing more to prove to anyone. She don't have to prove it. And when you get to that point of not having to prove, so you're in a different mind space. She's being erratic because she wants to get fired. I believe Charlotte could take her name anywhere. She could be Ashley over there, Ashley Flair. We're still going to see the same person, just like Daniel Bryanson, and just like any other wrestler that came across. Well, Adam Cole kept his kept his name. But just like and CM Punk kept his name. But any other wrestler, you know, they get over there, they're gonna make their name up. She knows what she could do. And when we come out, we know what we're gonna get. We know what we're gonna get. So she has nothing else to prove in WWE. She doesn't. You know, but they want to hold her because why? Because she is the main attraction. If you put Charlotte Flair fighting at a main event, you're not changing the channel just yet because you want to see what's going to happen. You know, so that's where we're at right now. You become such a commodity that it's hard for them to split. That wouldn't be in their best interest to split you apart and let you go on your way. That's not how business works.
Could you imagine? I'm sitting there thinking, like, could you imagine Charlotte showing up and like just her, Britt Baker, Ruby Soho, Nyla Rose, you got freaking Thunder Rosa. Oh man, like that would be such a hotline. Jade Cargill, like, oh my god, Jade and Charlotte. Oh man, that would be so awesome.
That is
So
one of that's one of the matches in my head that
I'm
I'm
losing my
looking
mind.
at. Jade and Car and she knows, Charlotte knows, and those girls will go crazy to see Charlotte there. They will be elated to see Charlotte Flair walk in there. Their hearts will start jumping. Fight. It gives. I think wherever Charlotte goes, regardless of how much she could be hard to work with, but I believe wherever Charlotte goes, she is going to give a boost to the women's wrestling. As long as Charlotte doesn't do anything that makes her, like that's the other one that did some racist tweets or racist stuff and spit in a black woman's head. As long as Charlotte keeps her head on a swivel.
Never forget.
Never forget. Okay, hashtag never forget. Charlotte, wherever she goes, is the hot commodity. She's going,
Absolutely.
and they're gonna want to fight this 6-foot tall woman who can wrestle and do a backflip off the top of the ropes. Who can hit a spear better than Roman Reigns, or rival Goldberg.
And
or should I say Oldberg? But we're gonna leave him alone for right now. But these things happen. So yes, Charlotte Flair is the talent, and these women want to wrestle her. They can't wait. They are begging her. They'll fire a couple of women just to get her pay raise, just to get her that pay raise. Charlotte wants to be with her man, and she wants to go wrestle. And if she stayed, and Vince said, you could never come back over here, Charlotte, she'll say, fine. I know you're going to want me one day. You're going to pull me back one day. I'm going in the Hall of Fame. I mean, Charlotte is Hall of Fame bound, regardless. She's Hall of Fame bound. If she gets to AEW and she's with her man, she's going to be happy. They're going to say, oh, Charlotte, we don't know what you're talking about. Charlotte, she's great to work around. Yeah, because she's getting some DICK on a nightly. And let me tell you something about the Mexicans, baby. They are hot. They want it all the time. All the time.
I hate you.
They want it all the time, all night, baby. Eagle-O like the Eagle-O, So he likes that. He knows. Charlotte give him what he wants. He is eating. Charlotte lays down while he just eats her as a queen. You're my queen. You're my queen. That Eagle-O stands for tongue. The icon tongue. Yeah.
Here's the
latest. And he is Eagle-O-ing her every night. That's why she flew to Florida, not just to see him. I need to see you in the room for a minute. I need some of that Eagle-O.
So the latest says here that so the this night with this picture here, with SmackDown, before we wrap the show, Becky wanted to have her Becky 2 belts moment and hold the belt in the air, and clearly that didn't happen. But then it says here, according to PW Insider, the Flair-Lynch relationship / friendship has been strained for some time. People close to the situation since Flair didn't appreciate being called plastic during a promo a couple years ago, and it's been tense ever since. Okay, Karen. So here we go. So this is what I'm saying. So this is what it is. This is what we saw on television. She called you plastic, which, not for nothing, Charlotte. You came back with a lot of Botox and you admitted that you had chest surgery and stuff. So Becky, she said what she said, and Becky can be harsh. This is a time when she was the man tweeting everyone, thought she was the female Conor McGregor, and some say she is, and so she was saying things to get, as a heel. And feelings are feelings, words do matter. And Charlotte took it personal and still has. And so every time I get a chance to make you look good, I'm not. But as we said earlier in this show, the running reports now and rumors from backstage is that she hasn't been liked by no one, and everyone's over it. So Becky's not the only one that she did it to her on Friday, but how many more people? So this is going to continue. As you mentioned, won't we see her show up in another promotion, whether that be AEW, Ring of Honor, who knows? Charlotte may want to, who knows? But right now, it definitely looks like AEW. Let's not be stupid. But my question here, because I saw a story a while ago on Sportskeeda, and they were saying that Charlotte basically was upset about the amount of losses that she has. Like we said earlier, wins and losses with WWE specifically don't matter. You win today, lose by a small package tomorrow. So, unless you're Roman Reigns. Anywho, shout out to Kofi and Bianca. They both got less than 30-second squashes with titles. But anywho, hashtag Black Wrestling Draws. So I'm looking on Charlotte Flair. I Google her wins and losses record, right? And shout out to Pro Fight DB for this statistics here. So Charlotte Flair, NXT, she won 74 matches, a total of 48.68%. And in losses, she had 77 losses, percentage of 50.66%. And the main roster, WWE, she's had a total of 304 wins thus far. That's 57.47% percentage of her wins. And then her losses in WWE are 209 losses, a 39.51 percentile of loss. So in total losses accumulate to 286. And that article came out like past, I think last summer when she disappeared last summer for the health surgery and whatnot. So now here we are, and what do you think that can play into? I mean, we say it doesn't matter in WWE, but to a wrestler, we're not wrestlers. These people, they may be labeled as talent, misclassified, whatever on contract, but they're wrestlers. So forgive Charlotte for actually caring about how she looks to the public or in her own head. You want to make sure your character, looks strong. Like, I'm sure Roman's not going to take no shitty pin. I'm sure he's going to sit there and say, no, we're not doing this. We're going to do it this way. Like, you think Vince going to sit there and say, what the hell are you doing? No, he's not going to do that. Like we said earlier, of course not. So what's the bad problem with her doing it, aside from that's not all you do? Like, if she was just doing that, but then she's not, two wrongs don't make a right. But this whole thing that's stemming from Becky calling you plastic, I can understand that she's hurt, but at the same time, for the sanctity of like your friendship with her, I don't think you should let that get between it. But I'm
okay. I want to say this,
and she may have a lot of inner issues, which is why she's doing the Botox and all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, I think all that plays into the psychological and why she feels that way. Because Becky said it because
I think that Becky and her has this ongoing feud anyway. Becky don't like her. She don't like Becky, and they're making it known. Not to play devil's advocate with Charlotte all night, but I know for a fact that Becky says a lot of stuff to make people want to punch her in the head. But
Yeah.
that's what she's good at. She says it, so she knows she could get under Charlotte by saying she's plastic. Is she the only one woman in WWE that's had plastic surgery? Of course not. We could look at a lot of women in there that, especially Naomi, that had her butt done a couple of times. So
Mm.
when she says plastic, I don't think she's meaning the plastic surgery. I mean plastic like you're see through. You're
Yeah, that's
not
kind of
you're not
hard to pursue
real.
initially, like plastic, like
You're not
like
real.
yeah, like
And that's where Charlotte came in like, who's this little bitch talking to me like that when I made her? So it's a big running back and forth thing. It's a power struggle. It's a
mm.
power struggle. Can anyone else talk to Becky and do Becky like that? No, because she's a top merch seller, and Vince is not going to happen. The only person that could do it is Charlotte.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, this is still stemming from that, and so it's a lot of situations that comes from this. Like we said earlier, backstage or
And no,
standing.
I don't have a problem with Naomi. That's why I threw her out. I just decided that her ass is just like, girl, how much you gonna have done?
Okay. Yeah. So backstage, standing behind Becky, and does seem to be going away. I will say this before we wrap up this show here. This one point here.
I just want to say one more thing. Naomi, unblock me, girl. Unblock me. I'm sexy diva.
This has been going on for a very long time.
I'm still in campaign. Hashtag unblock me, Naomi. That's all I gotta say. I hadn't did nothing to you, girl.
Shout out to Talk Sport for this one, because we did put a lot on Charlotte, and it comes off as she's a bad person, and no one's saying that you are. But I will leave this note for everyone. Shout out to Talk Sport here, who says this quote: Charlotte Flair campaigned to lose clean to Bianca Belair on Monday Night Raw,
and she didn't.
She campaigned though. She's understood to be a huge fan of Bianca Belair and believed the finish killed what could have been a big win for her. So there you go, guys. So it's not. So one hand you got the backstage saying she's horrible to work with. On the other hand, she is looking out for Bianca Belair. She loves her talent. She sees it in her. But unfortunately, Vince wants things to go one way. So here she is trying to look out for someone. She still can't. So there's a lot of frustrations that she's going through on top of the image that she exudes and all anything. Like, so
how it comes out. How it comes out. And like I said, with Charlotte, I don't believe she's a total bad person, but who she wants to pull over, they say no. So she's like, you know what, screw it all then.
Yeah.
And she's pushing and see how far she can push. And I believe that Vince hasn't taken enough from him. So, it is what it is. I mean, she did, like I said, she did miss WrestleMania. So let's see what happens from there.
And before we wrap this up, like, in professional wrestling, like, everything's about loyalty. But what happens when the man who you've been loyal to since your father and since birth decides that he doesn't care about your well-being anymore? We talk a lot about these wrestlers as if they're not real people, and like you said, Charlotte she's frustrated. She probably is sexually frustrated. Who knows? Like you said, she be with her man, and
trust me,
El Idolo means a lot of things now that you said all that.
Now it be days in the hair. I'll be like, pull my hair out, bust it.
So it's
Look
real
at Igalo. He's so sexy too. Please.
Okay, hello. It's real interesting on like just the dynamics of that when you said that. So, but what happens when a person you've been loyal to, your father and him, he just does things that she don't want to do it anymore, and like we said about the whole she able to own it, and if not, then it's Ashley. Hey, do what you got to do. But that loyalty shit.
Loyalty is. Let me just say one more thing. Vince McMahon hates Ric Flair. He would love to stick it to his daughter, just like Vince McMahon had a problem with Dusty Rhodes, and he loves to stick it to his sons. Ric Flair, Vince McMahon. I say that to say this: Vince loves to stick to people's kids. That's it.
Wow.
Digest on that one.
Right. On that note, just remember, guys, loyalty goes both ways.
Yes.
And it's Charlotte's prerogative on what she wants to do.
Yes.
And we'll have to wait and see.
We'll see.
yeah, but that is the show, guys. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna wrap up the show here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, whether
Tuning
you're watching
in.
the post or live. Tweet us
Right.
at EJ Podcast. You could tweet me at EJPCO Corner. You could tweet her at Suplex Diva 101,
Mm-hmm.
or follow us on Instagram. The links are on our socials. Yeah, and we'll be back with the brand new episode soon. Maybe we'll dive more into this Charlotte situation.
Okay.
Does she get a bad rep? I mean, because we just said that she is looking out for people. So do we, as the IWC, the internet wrestling community, do we sometimes get in our own head, in our own way of what's the real issue? I think it might be an interesting conversation moving forward, because a lot of times I do think a lot of wrestlers get the blame, or sometimes we don't necessarily know the whole truth. And because we fall for the narratives, sometimes that kind of, the truth gets muttered in a sense.
Yes.
Like you said before, when we were talking about it off air, like you said, like there's the lie, the truth, and the middle, like in between or whatnot. Like, so there's
Yes.
three sides to every story, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see. We'll be following this, guys. Again, we want to thank everyone for tuning in. As I mentioned, you can follow us at the DTA Podcast. All of our links: YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, all that good stuff.
All
And
that
we'll
good
see
stuff.
you on the next video.
Yes.
Bing.
Good night, guys.
And look out for the new DTA.
Look out for the new DTA song that's coming up. And guys, it's gonna be on iTunes, Spotify.
And you guys soon. Yeah, on Spotify soon.
Okay.
Definitely.
Bye.
That indeed it is.
Trash can.
And that's what I think of the WWE Women's Championship belt.